How's it going, everybody? I am Jason of JasonsRealm here, and today I am here bringing you guys our Week 4 recap of the NFL. This week was an action-packed week, and let's just, without further ado, dive right into this here. This recap was done with the help of Pessimistic Cowboys fan, channel in the description, and David. So let's just kick things right off here with the Miami Dolphins at the Cincinnati Bengals on Thursday Night Football. Bengals bringing out the white tiger uniforms, beautiful unis. And I guess those unis propelled them to a win. Teddy came in for Tua after he had a scary injury that everybody in the NFL world knows about. Screw the Dolphins. They just completely messed up with what they did with Tua, letting him play last week. The Bengals did look very solid. They looked really good. The offense was starting to click. The defense was going. And things are looking up for them. Let's see if they can keep that rolling into next week when they play the Baltimore Ravens on Sunday Night Football. We will be streaming that one. And the last thing I have to say on this game is I'm wondering if the Dolphins are going to start getting in big trouble. I mean, they're going to be without Tua for a little bit. They're already going to be under the big eye of the NFL. I mean, I think they're going to see some strong repercussions and disciplinary actions, if not added with on-the-field actions. Up next, we have the Minnesota Vikings beating the New Orleans Saints 28-25 in London in the morning. Andy Dalton came in for the famous Jameis, seeming to be injured. Red Rocket still alive, still around, and the Vikings, I should say, not the Bengals. The Vikings offense was able to come back and make adjustments in the second half, but ultimately, I mean, it was just an offensive struggle. I mean, it was one of the worst games we could have started Week 4 Sunday with. But we have to work what we got. Up next, we'll head over to Atlanta, where we had the Cleveland Browns falling to the Atlanta Falcons 23-20. Jacoby Brissett, he looked all right on the day. Could have been better, could have been a lot worse. The Browns just ultimately struggled. I mean, the defense kept bending to the Falcons. That was a game that the Browns should have won, but I didn't expect them to win. I picked the Falcons because I didn't expect the Browns to be able to actually make or win a game they should win, which that's what we saw. I mean, the Browns just could not hold the Falcons. Even whenever it got into back and forth action, they just couldn't hold it. And the Falcons, seemingly they're going to be flying high, maybe. They're starting to click a little bit more. Mariota's starting to look decent in that offense. We'll see what the Falcons can do, see if they can avoid last place in the division, which when you have Baker Mayfield and the Panthers in the division, should be fairly easy to do. Up next, we'll go over to Baltimore, where the Ravens fell 23-20 to the Buffalo Bills. This game, we streamed this one on the channel if you guys hadn't checked that out or hadn't known. The Bills, they had a very slow start. Josh Allen looked awful. I mean, he looked like a rookie out of Central Iowa or whatever. He just did not look good. I mean, he was out of sync with his offense, not placing the ball where it needed to be. And the Bills just could not get much going offensively in the first half. The Ravens, on the other hand, were all cylinders fire from the get-go. They jumped out to a 20-3 lead about halfway through the second quarter, if I recall correctly. And then they proceeded to blow it because the Bills made proper adjustments to eliminate the Ravens' run game, showing that the Ravens are appearing to be a one-dimensional team. Up next, we'll go to Dallas, where the Dallas Cowboys, or the Cowboys, however you want to say that, beat the Washington Commanders 25-10. Washington was not able to capitalize on offensive chances they had. Really, they just did not look like a complete team. Cooper Rush, the big surprise out of the Cowboys. We expected Cooper Rush to tank this team, but instead he is undefeated, getting ready to face the Rams in Week 5. But Dak is talking about coming back next week, so we'll see what happens with that. But it seems like the Cowboys might be legit after seeing what we saw here. They have been 3-0 under Cooper Rush after what should have been a maybe 1-3 start. They're capitalizing any chance they get. Up next, we'll go to the big offensive game. 93 points on the board, Seattle and Detroit. Seattle is scraping by with the win on this one. This is an offensive showdown. High-flying, sparks shooting offenses. It was a sneaky good offensive game. Nobody expected. Whenever we saw this game, we did not expect it to be a 90-plus point game, but that's what we got. But the Seahawks were able to barely escape whenever they almost blew it to the Lions. And Detroit, despite being 1-3, I think I saw somewhere they have a point differential of plus 35. Or no, they're averaging 35 points a game, not point differential plus 35. They are averaging about 35 points a game, and they are still only 1-3. Now we'll go over to Houston, where the Chargers barely escaped with a win over the Texans, 34-24. Now I say barely because the Texans almost came back into it. They came within 3 before the Chargers said, you know what, let's put this away and score a touchdown. It was almost a complete meltdown in the second half. They had it hugely. I think they had, 27-3, 27-10, something like that. I want to say it was 27-3, though. And then they just blew it. The Chargers, I'm not sure. They are not the same Chargers as last year, looking at them. I mean, this Chargers team last year would have actually held their opponents. This year, they're not. And that's why, I mean, spoilers later today, but the Chargers aren't even in our top 10 power rankings between the 3 of us. Which, yes, this will be a double upload. Power rankings will be later on today. But Houston was almost able to make the comeback. Davis Mills looking all right in that second half. We'll see what they can do going forward. Up next, we have the Tennessee Titans beating the Indianapolis Colts 24-17. This game was a Houston slaughterfest from the start, and they almost choked it. It's basically how the game went. The Titans were looking legit in the first half. They looked like they were back. The offense was all cylinders fire, and the defense was holding the Colts. But then again, that's not a big win because it's the Colts this year. They're blowing it with choker Matt Ryan at the helm. Speaking of which, Matt Ryan was able to choke away a couple of opportunities for a game-tying touchdown. So, good job there, Matty boy, Matty Ice. Now, after this, there's not really much else to say on that game. We'll go over to the Chicago Bears at the New York Giants. The Giants escaping with an 8-point win by a score of 20-12. The Giants, maybe not as good as we first thought whenever they went out to a 3-0 lead. Maybe a deceptive 3-0 lead or start. Because the Bears were able to come back almost on them. Like, they came within a 2-point game before, or no, it was a 3-point game before, the Giants were able to seal the deal with another touchdown. But yeah. The Bears, they were unable to capitalize on key moments to get back in that game and win it. So, unfortunate for them. But it was a defensive struggle through that whole game, it appeared. Up next, we'll go to another sneaky good game. The Jacksonville Jaguars falling to the Philadelphia Eagles 29-21. The Jaguars came out of the gate red hot. I mean, they were up, 21-0 at one point? Or no, it was 14-0. And they just looked like there was no turning back, starting with a pick six and being able to keep it going on offense. So the question of this game was, did the Eagles play down to the Jags, or are the Jags actually legitimately good this year? We'll find out. The Eagles' run game was very dominant. I know firsthand I lost some fantasy because my opponent had Miles Sanders. But Trevor Lawrence did look all right. He was looking like an average quarterback. So we'll see if that continues. And if that does continue, the Jaguars could be a threat going forward. Up next, we will go to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where the New York Jets escaping with a win, 24-20. Pittsburgh had no defense at the end of the game, letting the Jets just march downfield with minimal time left. I mean, the Jets got the touchdown to win the game with 15 seconds left, something like that. And the Jets were somehow able to get some offense going under Wilson. It's surprising because the Jets usually are not an offensive team, but they were able to escape with a win in Pittsburgh. And the big story from that game, Mitch Trubisky is out. Kenny Pickett is in. And I saw an article, I think it was this morning, where they're talking about Kenny Pickett is likely to be the starting quarterback for the Steelers going forward. We'll see how Kenny does. That's what Steelers fans wanted, and Kenny looked good. 2 rushing touchdowns, and he just looked overall good throughout that game, connecting with his receivers and everything. Now we move on to the 4 o'clock slate of games with the Arizona Cardinals beating the Carolina Panthers 26-16. Baker Mayfield does not seem to be the guy in Carolina. He is not looking good over there. I mean, I think he might have been a product of the weapons the Browns had, more so than the fact that it was actually Baker's talent. Because the Browns did bring in a lot of talent around Baker Mayfield, and he looked good there. But he's just not looking good anymore. it probably does seem to be something with the Panthers as opposed to it being something with Baker, or it seems to be something with Baker as opposed to something with the Panthers. Baker not really he's being more of a product of the system. The Arizona offense was non-existent in the first half, but they did become alive in the second half, and the defense able to make a couple crucial stops to lock up that win for the Cardinals. Now we'll go to another sneaky good game. The New England Patriots falling in overtime to the Green Bay Packers, 27-24. Brian Hoyer was out for the game. Mac Jones was out. So the Patriots had to put the ball in the hands of rookie Bailey Zapp. And he looked all right. I mean, the Patriots abused the run game. They were able to look good because of the run game. They got their offense moving and everything was jiving and clicking. And the Pats offense, they struggled. They were stagnant in overtime, though. As soon as overtime came, it was all Packers. It was just a matter of time before they won the game. So, Green Bay able to snag that win. Now we'll go over to Las Vegas, where the Denver Broncos fall to the Raiders, 32-23. Raiders offense did appear to be back. Josh Jacobs having a solid day of his own, too, for the Raiders. And he is supposed to be their premier back, so it's about time we see that happening. The Raiders defense was also able to come up with a couple of clutch stops at the end. And the Broncos offensive machine, though, in the first half, they're starting to start up a little bit, but the defense just blew that game for the Broncos. And now we go to Sunday Night Football. The Kansas City Chiefs beating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 41-31. The Chiefs were full throttle offense throughout the entire game. I mean, they were able to extort their will on the Buccaneers. Anything they wanted, they got. The Buccaneers were able to make it close to the end, but it was too little too late as the Chiefs were kind of playing that soft defense that you play whenever you're way ahead. And it's surprising because the Bucs defense going into this game was the number one defense in the NFL. And they just got embarrassed on their own soil by the Chiefs. We'll see how each team reacts next week. But we will conclude this video looking at the Monday Night Football game last night between the Los Angeles Rams and the San Francisco 49ers. The Niners beating the Rams 24-9. And this game, ooh boy. It was an offensive line failure for the Rams, allowing 14 pressures, 5 sacks, and Stafford throwing an interception, a pick 6, mind you. The Rams' pass defense was absolute burnt toast. The Rams' offense just completely fell flat. They were not clicking at all. They had a couple of drives where they clicked, but then they stalled out. They were not able to complete a drive. Meanwhile, the 49ers, they were able to perform despite a couple of key injuries, including, I think it was Trent, is it Williams, I think it is? Trent Williams, I think it is. That big offensive line, big tackle for him. He was out for the game, and a couple of other injuries hampering the Niners, but they did not care. They got the job done and beat down on a divisional rival. And with that, that is the full rundown of all of Week 4's games. We are hoping to get another video out for you today. This is the first of 2. Hopefully we're going to get the power rankings out later tonight. I'm actually going to roll right into recording that after this. Yay. But if you guys like the video, smash like, smash subscribe. And we are hoping to be live Thursday night for the second half of Thursday Night Football, depending on how schedules work. Otherwise, we'll definitely be live again Sunday. And if you guys want to see more content, smash subscribe and ring the bell so you can get notified as soon as we upload new content. We'll be posting content most days. Most days we'll be getting some new football content. And I guess without further ado, I'm going to end this video, roll into recording the power rankings. Peace out and have a good one.